Big Local is different, shall we say. With most grant projects and stuff, you have this marvellous idea of something you want to do, and then you work out how you're going to do it, and then you write a grant application form and you go to some grant giver and say, please give me all this money and I'll do this. But Big Local is, if you like, upside down, in that they come along and say, you've got £1 million and you've got 10 years to use it, but you don't have to have any ideas. You then have to go out and talk to the local residents in the area to find out, what should we do with this money? How should we use it? How should we make it an even better place to live, as the tagline goes. So it's very, very different.
During this feature, we're highlighting some of the projects the Big Local has supported over the last 10 years, the benefits to the communities and the legacy it will leave. So the Big Local project has been supporting the Arley Community Centre throughout our project life. We've supported them with some small grants to fund maintenance and facilities to make the centre more accessible for users, safer for users, and just to make it sustainable into the future. We've also supported them by connecting them with Warwickshire CAVA, who have supported governance along the way and access to different funding.
Big Local has been, it's not only the grants, it's friendships. I've met people and they will be my friends well after Big Local is finished. Board members may come and go, but everybody wants the best for the local community. And I think that is the message. We come from different walks of life, but we all want the best for our local community.
The thing about Big Local is that it's driven by residents. So it's not the mythical them or whatever. You have to go out, when the project started many, many years ago now, go out and find a group of residents who are quite happy to sort of join the committees, spend the evenings having meetings, etc., and do the consultation, because the money is meant to be spent as decided by the local residents. So you have to go out and do consultations. So you have to do things like stand outside the post office and say, hello, can you spare a few minutes? And, oh, and I'm too busy, I've got to go and get a sandwich and stuff like that. So, but we do, through every door, we posted consultations and had ballot boxes in the early days, and prepaid reply envelopes in later days. So to get all this information back in terms of answering our questions as to what do you think of the area? How should we use the money? What are your priorities? Have you got any bright ideas? Do you want to come and join the committee? So it's all that sort of organisation, but it's the different way of things. So it's driven by a group of residents, and residents always have to be in the majority in terms of the people who make the decisions. And the big thing is that you can't do stuff that's classed as statutory, in other words, stuff that the local council should do. And we're not part of the local council. Many times I've been said, well, you're part of the council. No, I'm not part of the council, I'm part of Big Local. Yeah, we are resident-led little group. We're not councils, we're not the mythical them or they. Anyway.
The themed bins were funded through the Parish Council to brighten up an already amazing local park. It's opposite the Lord Nelson, it's Ansley Recreation Ground. So the bins are themed. There's a bear bin currently there, and that was to encourage children to put their litter in the bin and keep the park nice and clean and safe. What we've done in more recent years is plant an oak tree in the same park for the King's coronation. We had about 10 volunteers putting in the oak tree into Ansley Recreation Ground. Hopefully this will be a wonderful feature in years to come for everybody to enjoy.
Probably the first large one we worked with was with Arley Parish Council, where not really part of Big Local, but one of the workers on the project, she helped them put in a grant application to what's called Pocket Parks to get some money from Pocket Parks, I assume it's a government organisation, to refurbish one of the little children's play areas. They applied for, I think it was £6,000 or something like that. But when the application was adjudicated and it came through, it said, well, you can have a cheque for £21,000 if you want. So from the help of our worker on our project, what they thought might have been £6,000 ended up as £21,000. So there was a lot more money could be spent. We've worked with Ansley Village, Ansley Parish Council on various projects. We've done some work on them with the War Memorial. We've helped support them with party in the park type events that they put on in the village. We gave them some money for some little litter bins in the play areas. Not your conventional black litter bins, but these are, one of them's a frog, I think, and the other one's a bear. So just something different to get the kids to put the litter in the litter bin.
The Leys Youth Club started in 2016. It was a part of the Big Local's promise to continue Arley Youth Club that used to run before the Big Local programme. So it's been running since then, and it has developed from 1 session a week to 3 sessions, 4 sessions actually a week now, across Arley and Ansley Village. I think we've had total number of over 250 young people engage in that project in just the last 3 years.
My name's Kelly Middleton. I'm the Leys Youth Project leader and families worker. Thank you. So my role involves supporting the local young people to grow and thrive, turn into brilliant individuals, whether that be through play, events, crafts, activities, games, or just mentoring them.
I'm Liam Brady and I'm the assistant youth worker for the 3 villages in the Big Local. So, along with my lead youth worker, we run 4 youth sessions a week in Ansley, Old Arley and New Arley. About 2 years ago, I started off as a volunteer. I wanted to get some experience working with kids because at the time I was pursuing a primary education degree. Fell in love with it, and after 6 months I ended up offered with a paid position. I took it and I've been here ever since. It's been about probably 18 months now.
We've tried to engage with all age groups as best as we can. Some of the young people that have attended our youth group weren't probably the best behaved people in the area, but they've now gone on to get jobs. They've been employed by local businesses. Yeah, so the vision is we've done our best, we've engaged with people to make this place a better thing. So with the grants and all the rest of it, we're engaging with people, even down to the local Ansley in Bloom and the garden, the open gardens. That is engaging with people all the time, and it is making the area a lot better. We also have litter picks, which again engages with people and gives people empowerment to pick up the litter.
I think that giving young people something to engage in, especially after they've been through COVID, you know, they weren't socialising for a long time, they weren't in a classroom environment or anything. I think we've had a great impact on those kids. Just getting them into a routine, getting them out to socialise with other kids. We do trips and events just to give them something to get excited for. So I think we've had a positive effect on the youth in the community.
And what trips have you been on recently?
London, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't go to
No, I wasn't.
No.
What did you do in London?
So we went to see the House of Parliament,
And
the Jewels.
we went to
didn't we?
was it the House of Jewels?
Yeah, the
House of Jewels.
where they used to be.
Yeah. And
The House of Commons. Yeah.
no, we didn't go there.
No, we went to
They
the.
were closed.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot what it's called now.
It was called the Natural History Museum.
Yep.
That's what it is.
So from a youth role perspective, I think it's been invaluable. There's not a lot locally for young people to do. I'm sure if you talk to any residents, they'll say the same. So from the youth point of view, I think lots of opportunities, lots of activities going on. A lot of the young people get involved wherever they can. The families come along and support us, which is really good.
I find that you can learn how to craft, sew, make sandwiches sometimes. I learned how to do different crafts, like when we made bird feeders and when we do drawings and stuff like that. At London I learned more about the Parliament. At first I didn't know too much, and now I know quite a lot about Parliament.
At the moment, I'm remaining as a youth worker. I've picked up another job, so I'm going to be a youth worker in Nether Whittaker. I'm still working towards my youth level 2 qualification, but I should have that done soon. I'm quite excited moving forward, although it's sad that the Big Local's coming to an end. I'm looking forward to exploring the career a little bit more, A couple of things that I've looked into. One of them is potentially working at a centre like the Blackwell Adventure Centre that we visited.
I have now just accepted a role with Warwickshire County Council to be a level 6 targeted youth worker, which means me doing a 3-year degree. Again, none of this would have been possible without the journey of Big Local to help support that. So I'm really grateful.
So the Festival of Flight is our annual event. It's been going since 2016. It started as a really simple kite flying event. One of the residents in the area is part of a model flying club, and he would come and bring his airplane and control line and fly that around for us. And it developed every year since to involve local community stalls, local businesses, and different entertainment. So we'd have local singers, we'd have falconry displays, and it's a low-cost event for families to come along and enjoy a community day, all about really being part of the community. We were hopeful that somebody would take that project on, and hopefully actually Arley Parish Council will be doing the event next year.
I initially started with Big Local volunteering at an event which was the Festival of Flight as it is now. It was just a picnic in the park, kite flying, and then I got approached by one of the current board members and accosted onto the board, for better words. Joined the partnership board, which was amazing to see how we could help local businesses and local residents in their goals to achieve a better place to live. Once I started on the partnership board, I found out about the Youth Project, and I was quite interested in volunteering because I was quite a keen cook. So I went along to the youth group, started volunteering. That led on to a position becoming available as the assistant youth worker. I became the assistant youth worker, and now I currently lead the Youth Project. So yeah, big journey for me through Big Local.
Yeah, so my name's Alex Graham and I'm from Seedling Productions. We're an education company. Yeah, so I live and I run my business from Arley. I'm based really local. My kids have been brought up here, go to the schools here, and I wanted to see kind of business in this area grow, especially in these villages.
I'm Martin Langley, I'm chair of Arley Parish Council. I used to play football here when I was a kid, and the changing rooms across the road, they've been closed down because of asbestos, etc. And we sold that building and put the money in an account, and we're now trying to get a pavilion with changing rooms, showers, and a community room for the youth club, and that's what we're looking at doing. And I think we've applied for planning today. It should have gone in, so hopefully that building will go up, and because we've got about 11 football teams playing here now.
And our big project, which is often referred to as our legacy project, is what we're working with at the moment, still with Arley Parish Council, is on what's called Hilltop Pavilion. Hilltop is where we do our Festival of Flight, because it's a big flat open space and it's used by some of the local football groups, but there's no changing facilities or club room or anything there. So the Parish Council are looking to build a pavilion which can be used for multiple purposes really. It's got toilets, it's got a club room, eventually hopefully it'll have changing rooms and things like that. So we're putting some funding into that to work with the Parish Council there to build this legacy project that hopefully will be there for many years after we're gone.
I think any funding that comes into these rural areas is so beneficial because we don't see the funding that we see through work in the big cities. So by the kids having these opportunities, and the adults, it's, you know, we've talked about the children here because we mainly talk about childhood trauma, but also the adults here, this is courses that they get certificated for, so it helps their own professional development, it helps them with their future prospects, their future employment, which again then goes on to help the village and the next generation.
We've been working with Arley Primary School since 2020. We've given them a few grants in being able to support their outdoor education. So we supported their trim trail and most recently their outdoor classroom facilities, and that includes a buddy bench. The buddy bench we got to learn is a place where your children can go and sit and if they're not feeling like they're taking part in the activities, and that it's kind of assigned to the rest of the children that they could join them and make friends or do an activity together. We've also supported the nursery that's part of the school, and we provided a grant for some of their essential resources.
Well, year 1 and 2, thank you for coming outside so beautifully. So today we have a special event. They've helped us, they've given us some funding to help build our outdoor classroom and to help make our school a better place. And actually all of these people are from one place called the Big Local. Can you say that? It's the Big Local, and the Big Local are a charity that help all of the community in Arley and Ansley. So these people are helping, I know, to make our community better and to help us improve our school at Arley. So the Big Local have helped us to make friends. They've helped us if we're a little bit lonely and we need some company. So I think first of all, we ought to start with a very big thank you. So after 3, I want us all to say thank you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you!
Hood Lane applied for a grant to the Big Local Project to improve the facilities at Hood Lane, but also to support the coffee shop to make that more mobile. So they take the coffee shop, it's called the Coffee Hut, out to local events and festivals and markets in all of North Warwickshire and wider, and they attend a lot of our events as well. So we funded a generator and some signage for them to be able to do that. And then Hood Lane, where the coffee shop is based, we've supported them through funding for better access facilities, disabled toilet, and they've become a real hub actually of activity. So they have a lot of small businesses and craft groups and support groups that use their venues to provide activities for the local community on a weekly basis, I would say.
So I'm David Kearns and I'm from Hood Lane Farm, which is on the outskirts of Ansley Village. The Big Local project came to us when we were setting up in a field next door to our little coffee hut, and 2 of the board members came to see us and told us about the Big Local, and from then, from getting a grant to then becoming a board member to then helping other people, that's really our little story.
Big Local were instrumental in helping us achieve our goals with the coffee hut, and they've been part of our journey from the very beginning, and we do thank them for their support for our journey so far. We set it up as a concept back in 2021, just developed our own little mobile coffee business that went around Warwickshire, and we were very fortunate that the Big Local come and just visited for a coffee one day, chatted to us about the grants, and supported us with the initial kitting out and development of the hut, to enable us to go out and visit more events, give people a barista coffee, and then also another grant in 2023 which enabled us to develop our site here and make it more accessible for people to come and have a coffee. We really feel that we're not just running a mobile coffee business, so we feel that we're running a community initiative where people come and have a coffee, have a chat, find out what we're doing on site and take part in lots of events. So we thank the Big Local for supporting us.
Oh, it's tremendous amount of difference the Big Local has made to what we're trying to achieve at Hood Lane. We didn't know what we were trying to achieve, quite honestly, but the Coffee Hut has become a community asset. We have lots and lots of little events going on here now, which we're trying to help other little businesses to get started. And as again, from being on the Big Local board of Arley and Ansley, trying to support other businesses, which is what we're trying to do here as well. So.
The grants have been empowering to local businesses. One in particular, the Coffee Hut, myself and another board member, we had our regular Sunday coffee. We knew there was a new place opened up. We went up there. It was a fledgling business. We suggested, we then introduced ourselves to say we were from Big Local, and had they considered applying for a grant? No, they hadn't, because they hadn't really heard about us. Our grant programme has been business changing. You know, it's empowered them to be able to go out to events because they applied for a grant for a generator. In turn, they have passed the word on about our grants programme and provided facilities free of charge to many local fledgling businesses.
For us, it's just, yeah, I think it's just been amazing. I wish I'd known about it a little bit sooner, from when the project first started. But you know, over the last 2 years, I think we've made inroads into what we can do as a community.
Ansley Village Gardening Group applied to the Big Local in 2023 for a planting programme across Arley and Ansley Villages. It's a bigger grant that we've given out to a community group before, so they applied for £7,500, and that was to install planters across all of the villages, so large planters, and they've planted those up. It was a 2-year programme using volunteers. They've planted them up to increase the aesthetics of the villages, make them more welcoming, inviting areas, but also to increase the wildlife that's around in the area. Since the project, the gardening group have actually been part of the open garden schemes and have this year applied for the Britain in Bloom competition.
I'm the chair of the local gardening group. I'm also the coordinator for the Ansley Open Gardens, which also led into doing the Ansley planting. So I've been in connection with them through funding, because we had funding for seed funding for the original planting programme, and then we had a substantive grant from them to do planting across Ansley, New Arley and Old Arley. I'm working with the gardening group. We run a monthly gardening group where we have about 35 members from the local community. I'm also responsible for the planting across Ansley, and I help coordinate the planting across the 2 Arley villages. But this year, really excitingly, we're going into Britain in Bloom, which has grown from about a 6-year gardening programme. And so this is our first attempt, and that's my main involvement in the community. So I'm drawing together the church, the village hall, groups like the Morris Dancers, the art group, the allotments, retreeing, to name a few. And they're all taking part in the Ansley in Bloom programme. Well, I think it'd be fair to say that without the investment from the Big Local, we probably wouldn't be where we are at the moment. The initial planting programme was very small, very limited, and the investment through the Big Local enabled us to really take it up a notch. We were able to buy relatively expensive but long-lasting self-watering trucks across the village. That helped quite a lot. But also what it did was it set the impetus on us looking for funding for elsewhere, and also to look at how we make it sustainable in the long term. So, for instance, we've run 2 very successful plant sales that have grown year on year. And we've widened our engagement, so we're now working with a charity with people with learning disability who plant our seedlings for us, and so it's just expanded what was initially quite a small local programme. Well, we're going to continue the Ansley Gardening Group. It's a thriving group and it's going really well. We would like to involve the younger people in some of our programmes. We already have one young lady who's doing a Duke of Edinburgh Award and she's doing volunteering with us. But we would like to expand that out so that the young people can take pride in their local area. And my experience in previous community work is that if you actually engage young people and you get them to work with you, they start having ownership and they're less likely to disrupt it. They have a pride in it and it becomes theirs and they protect it. So very keen to do that. We obviously would like to get a good result from the Britain in Bloom programme, and we have just applied for funding for 3 years, so our aspiration is to continue it on.
So the Traffic Calming project started as a community concern really for the speed that the traffic goes on Birmingham Road in Ansley Village. The residents had tried to get a zebra crossing or something similar in the area for a long time. In 2019 we started up a group called the Ansley Action Group, and we worked with the highways team, the local MP and local councillor to try and improve the road's safety. We learnt that we couldn't put a zebra crossing in because the road is too fast, but we could put in priority build-outs and new speed signs to decrease the speed from a further distance away from the village, slowing cars coming into the village. So working with the Big Local Project then, the action group was able to apply for funding from the Big Local, from the Parish Council and from the Warwickshire Association for Local Councils. We were able to fund the highways team to install those priority build-outs and new signs.
It started really in terms of the consultation, because Birmingham Road is a fairly busy route between the north of Warwickshire, sort of Atherstone way, running down into Nuneaton and perhaps into Coventry. So Birmingham Road, which is the main road that runs through Ansley Village, is quite busy. And if you are perhaps not as fast on your feet as a youngster, getting across there could be a problem sometimes, getting across safely. So the idea of a zebra crossing was suggested. But when we started to look into zebra crossings, we found that because of the grading of the road and the usage of the road, that a zebra crossing wasn't the sort of thing that would be allowed by highways in terms of what we could put across or fund. The sort of numbers we were talking about was about £70,000 just to put in a zebra crossing across the village, perhaps near where the post office is in the village. So because the highways department said, well, yeah, a zebra crossing is not applicable or not allowed on that grade of road, it started really then the formation of what's called Ansley Action Group, which is a group of residents that got together to try and say, well, okay, what else could we have in terms of trying to slow the traffic down? Because people, even though it's only 30 miles an hour zone through the village, they used to go a lot faster than that sort of stuff. So what can we use to slow it down? So eventually it became a consortium between Big Local, the local councillors, the Warwickshire County Council group who was building some new houses in the area. They all put some money in the pot, and we ended up with 3 narrows, which sort of priority areas which slow the traffic down within the village. So hopefully that's made an improvement to the people's safety when they cross the road in Ansley Village now.
So the Village News is a combination of Arley News and Ansley magazine. We worked together to bring the two together to be able to make a parish magazine for both Arley and Ansley parishes. The Village News is run by a group of volunteers. They develop an issue 3 times a year. It's self-sustained through funding from advertisers. The Village News offers a variety of local news, events, opportunities and support for people in the parishes. It's delivered by volunteers to every single house in Arley and Ansley.
Well, I'm Nick, and I'm a member of the Partnership Board, which I joined in 2022, I think. So being part of the Partnership Board, we get together on a regular basis to check in with our plans, to see if we're delivering what we need to be doing, to see if anything needs any help, to make sure the finances are in check, and to keep on doing the good work we do. So I got involved with Big Local through Derek, who was on the Partnership Board at the time. And Derek and I work together in our Pathways group where we volunteer. And we're just having a throwaway conversation, as you do. And he said, oh, do you fancy coming and joining this? So I went along to a meeting. And I loved the energy around the table. I thought, great, I'd love to be a part of this. And then it's just flown from there. Well, where else do you get £1 million to spend on whatever the community wants to do? So it's been amazing to see all the different things that Big Local has enabled. So be it from community groups that have got grants to do things, like the village planting that's happened across Ansley and Arley, through to the youth service provision, which is absolutely amazing to have been going over that length of time, and the amount of businesses that we've supported, small businesses locally, having funding to do things that they would never have been able to do without the local support. So one of the things I got involved with, I'm not actually sure how, might have been you, Sarah, but there was a call out for people interested in writing and newsletters and that sort of thing. So I roped my husband into it, and we thought, oh, this could be fun. And now we're 3 episodes or 3 editions into the brand new Village News magazine, which takes the news from both Arley parishes and Ansley parishes, which were 2 separate publications previously. And we've now got a thriving new communication tool. We've got a team of volunteers before everybody's volunteering to do this. So we have a small but perfectly formed editorial team. We have quite a large distribution team, which is great because it means we can carve up a big job into lots of hands, which makes it a little job, but it's very important that we be able to do that. And we get support from the parish councils as well, who are contributing financially, but also to the content that we put in there as well.
Denise and Gail applied to the Big Local programme to fund a history book to be created of both Arley and Ansley Village. So they're working now to create a book that shows what life was like in the 1900s and the history that has happened up until now, really. Their book will be produced in the summer 2024. The book is called Now and Then, and it is celebrating the heritage of Ansley and Arley.
Denise Whittle from Arley, between old and new Arley, so I just say Arley.
Can you tell us your connection with the Big Local Project?
As a grant, as a receiver of a grant. Before that, I think we've been involved with Big Local all along in different ways, but I'm actually a member of St Wilfrid's Church and the community centre attached to that, and we've had a lot of dealings with Big Local over the 10 years. Because the British Legion had been working hard to make poppies and were putting on a big display, we wanted to support them by having a whole weekend of remembrance, which we needed display boards for. And part of the display was the history of Arley. And when a lot of people came on the Saturday and looked at all these displays, they were fascinated by the whole history of Arley. And we realised that there's an awful lot of newcomers that have come to Arley and don't know much about what's happened in the past. So my colleague Gail Williams and I decided we needed to have a book to show how Arley used to be and how Ansley used to be and how it is today, how it looks today. And so Big Local have supported us with a grant towards that.
3 villages are totally different. You know, I was born in New Arley, which was a mining village. All my relatives were in the mines, and the coal board provided a lot for the villagers. So New Arley always had its own identity. Old Arley was for the older people who were more affluent, do you know what I mean? And Ansley was totally separate. So you couldn't have picked 3 harder villages to try to bring together because they're all totally different. But you've made them all better. We've got planters, you've got the youth club running. So hopefully we can carry it on.
Well, we hope to improve the facilities. We hope especially to make the church more community friendly. We hope to improve the facilities. We hope to be a place that the community can use, not just at weekends, not just in the evenings, but all the time.
My name's Gary, and my role at Big Local is the Big Local Administrator. That role involves receiving grants from individuals and collectively as a group and processing all their grants for payments. Those grants collectively, individually and collectively as a group, it's brought the communities together and it's given people opportunities to really make a difference within those 3 villages. The work of the Big Local, I think, is by giving those grants, it's giving opportunities to everybody to really mingle together and be a better group and be better people.
Thoughts on closing Arley and Ansley Big Local? Well, I wish we had another 10 years, really. I think it's been an important asset to the area and an amazing work from what all you guys have done in the background, which really don't get a lot of recognition. So I take my hats off to you guys as well.
I think it's sad. I really do think it's sad. I think that we've got a lot to celebrate. We've had a lot of great achievements, but I think that maybe there should be another incentive like Big Local all over to give more people an opportunity that we've had.
Well, we always knew it had a limited time, but it doesn't make it any less sad. I think it's had a massive impact. I don't think a lot of the volunteers and people that work with Big Local realise sometimes just how important it has been. For example, the Scarecrow Festival, a lot of work goes into that, and people are more willing to contribute and take part because of the backing of Big Local than they would be without it. And it's everything. It's the advertising, the posters, the enthusiasm. It's just everything that Big Local has been and done has made such a massive difference.
So for me, I'm at the start of my journey, so I kind of don't necessarily see things as closing. I see them as the next thing that's opening up. So that's probably my first reaction to that. And I think it will be a wonderful opportunity to get people together who've been involved over the whole lifetime of the programme and just look back on everything that's happened, looking at the friendships that have been made, looking at the improvements that have happened and the difference that Big Local has made in that period of time. Thank you.
It was always going to happen. We knew that there was a limited amount of funding. But it is sad. It is sad that the community is going to lose out on a lot of its facilities and resources. We've done the best to try and find what alternatives are out there, and I know that you're doing the best to get a new youth provision set up. So, although it's sad, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think that we will come up with something, and I think the community will still be served.
I think it's very sad. I think Big Local has really given people opportunities to really further their businesses or further their individual groups, and it is very sad, really, because I think it's important that people have that opportunity to go forward and really expand what they really want to do within the villages.
I've been with Big Local now for 13 years. The previous gentleman, Jim, I went down to Old Arley with my young Labrador to give her a bit of socialisation, and I had my arm bent to attend a pre-board meeting. And 13 years on down the line, I've done various roles. Spent a few years as secretary, a couple of years as vice chair, had a year off, and for the last 18 months I have been chair of Big Local in the area.
Sad. We're going to lose a lot of expertise. Yeah, just sad. I mean, you keep telling me what funds are available, what this is there. I've been on courses with you, so a big loss.
It's good. It's nice that it's coming to an end. I think it's coming to a positive end. I think there will be items that are legacy that will leave behind. It's not just coming to an end and then there's nothing. It's flat. There will be some legacy. Hopefully legacy both in terms of people's skills and knowledge. Hopefully legacy in terms of physical things like the pavilion that will be there after we've gone. And I'm looking forward to retirement.
Thanks to everyone involved in this feature and in the Big Local project over the last 10 years, and above all for the support from the communities of Arley and Ansley.